Hello and welcome to my channel Beat Slavery with Racha. My name is Racha Haffar and today I will be talking about labor trafficking and forced labor. Labor trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery in which individuals perform labor or services under the use of force, fraud, or coercion from their traffickers. Labor trafficking includes situations of debt bondage, forced labor, and involuntary child labor. But today I will only be focusing on forced labor. So labor traffickers use violence, threats, lies, and other forms of coercion to force people to work against their will in many different industries that are actually all around us. An estimate of 40.3 million people were victims of modern slavery in 2016, and 25 million of these people were forced into labor, which means in any given day in 2016, there was more than 40 million people, including men, women, and children, who are being forced to work against their will and under threat. They are being forced to work in agriculture, in fishing, in so many different industries, including domestic work, including mining, including construction, including factories and manufacturing and processing and packaging, you name it. And also, of course, in market trading and illegal activities where the traffickers will make the victims trade things illegally. So these people are forced to work by private individuals and groups, or actually by state authorities. In many cases, the products they make and the services they provide end up seemingly to be legitimate in commercial channels. So we can buy people's products not knowing if they were actually fair trade or not. So forced labor's productions can be seen in the food we eat, in the clothes that we wear, in the clean spaces that we occupy every day, and in our houses or in offices. And that's why we talk about the importance of fair trade, because we have to have the awareness to know where did these products come from and who actually made them, under which conditions. Women and girls are affected by modern slavery. They're accounting for 28.7 million, which is 71% of the overall total of people in modern slavery. 58% of them are actually in labor trafficking. The time of modern slavery ranges. It could be as short as a few days and up to few years, several years that could exceed even 10 years. And I have actually come across victims who were trafficked for more than 10 years. Modern slavery occurs in every region in the world, which means labor and forced labor and labor trafficking exist everywhere in the world. There's no region that is exempt from that. Of the 25 million victims of forced labor, we see that 16 million were in the private economy, and 4.1 million were in forced labor imposed by state authorities. Among cases where the type of work was known, the largest share of adults who were on forced labor were in domestic work, which accounts for 24%. After that, it's followed by the construction, which is 18%, and then manufacturing, 15%, and then agriculture and fishing together making up 11%. So most victims of forced labor suffered multiple forms of coercion from employers or recruiters as a way of preventing them from being able to actually leave that situation. Nearly 1/4 of these victims had their wages withheld, or they were prevented from leaving by threats of not paying them the money that they're due and the wages. And that's how these recruiters manipulate them. This was followed by threats of violence as well, so 17%, act of physical violence, 16%, and threats against family, 12%. For women, 7% of victims reported acts of sexual violence. So we really have to have an open eye and open heart all around us, because you never know when you can actually come across a victim trafficked into labor slavery, or you are actually using a product that's made in a not fair trade and not fair wear.